Hey guys, this is Doug May with That Audio Guy. In this video, we're going to take a look at the live mode page and the stack mode page here under the multi tab. So live mode and stack mode are two features in Omnisphere that are really useful for people who are using multis in a live setting. Maybe they're performing at a show, or maybe they're just jamming with some friends in their basement. So what live mode does when you activate is you can see these different tabs representing the patches. When you've loaded patches in, it allows you to change from one patch to the other quickly just by clicking on the patch tab like that. You can change back and forth really easily. This is a million times better than being in the mixer window and trying to manually, mute patches out or solo other ones. It's all in one place right here in the live mode window. And what you can do that's really cool is you can make MIDI assignments to trigger these different patch tabs. So for example, on my MIDI controller, I've got 8 pads. It's a beat pad. And what I can do is if I right click and then hit MIDI note learn, because those pads are considered notes, and then hit the pad that I want, what it's going to do is assign this patch tab to that pad. So if I'm on something else, all I need to do is hit this pad and it will activate that patch tab. You can also assign it to MIDI CC, which is just going to be some of the knobs that are on your MIDI controllers. You can even assign it to MIDI notes on your keyboard. If you want to play a certain low note to trigger that patch tab, you can do that as well. So for example, if I right click on this and then do MIDI note learn, and let's play one of the C's on my keyboard, it will assign that. And then what you can do is under this drop down right here, this will allow you to make changes to what's being displayed. So you can either display the part number, which is what it is now, or I can display the key select, which is what I just set up. I just told you that I played a C and I assigned that to this patch tab. So if I hit this, now it's showing the key that I can play on my keyboard, which will activate this patch tab. Again, this makes it really useful if you're in a live setting and you've got your multi set up with different bass lines or pads or lead synthesizers or whatever, and you want to switch back and forth really quickly. You can just set up all these assignments and now you're playing at your show using your MIDI controller, and you can do it all from one place. Really convenient. These 3 tabs right here activate different functions within the live mode window. If I were to hit this right here, what it does is you can see on this left side right here on the patch tab, it now gives me access to some of the mix controls. I can make mix changes with the volume right here. It's got the assignment right there in the top right. I can even browse for new patches by hitting this folder icon, and then I've got mute and solo options as well. What this tab right here does is it activates what's called dual live mode. And what dual mode does is it allows you to set up your multi so that 2 different MIDI controllers can control each one of these 4 parts. And you can make assignments for those MIDI controllers. If you hit this magnifying glass right here, you'll see this MIDI channel right here, and you've got parts 1 through 4. You can assign the MIDI channel. So say I want parts 1 through 4 to be routed to channel 1, which is my keyboard, and then I've got my buddy with his keyboard routed to channel 2. I can assign parts 5 through 8 to channel 2, and now we can jam with one single multi together. This is also where you can override that channel problem that I told you about in the last video. If you have live mode turned on and you set MIDI channel to any, then it doesn't matter what channel those inputs are, your keyboard's going to be able to play them. And then this window also has other settings that you can make changes to. And then with this latch mode right here, it allows you to activate latch triggering. Basically what that means is if I have a multi set up and I put it on latch mode, I can activate some of these patches with latch mode. Say for example, this one's a bass line and I've got it latch mode as on. I can play whatever note I want to start my bass line on and then move to some other patch and play my synth solo or something like that while the bass line is going. So let me go ahead and load a multi. We'll pick this Bernard Boogie. So what we can do is activate live mode, make sure that this latch tab is selected, and then we'll activate latch on all of these. So we'll start with the kick. We can bring the kick in. We'll move to the snare. Let's add this bend in. And then we'll add other stuff in. You can see we've got a groove going. And then what we can do is browse for a new patch and add another patch. So maybe we want a pad. Let's pick something that's epic. Grab this violet pad. We come back, we can see it's here now, and now we can play with it. It's a little bit loud, so we can turn the volume down. then again, just to stop all of those, you just hit this stop right here and it'll turn all of those latch modes off. So that's the live mode. If we take a look at the stack mode, what the stack mode does when we've activated is it allows us to have more control over how the patches are layered. What I mean by that is if we have these 4 patches, we can change the ranges of these patches over the keyboard. And in doing so, we can say, okay, I don't want this patch to play anything below this middle C right here. So anything below this middle C won't activate this patch. What it allows you to do is it allows you to set a range for maybe a bass line that you've set up. It allows you to set another range for pads that are going throughout the song, and it allows you to set another range for a synth solo, for example. And to make those changes, all you need to do is if you grab this box right here, you can see this is the kick box right here for that patch. If you grab the bottom left corner, you can stretch that out. So you can set the range using that. If you grab the right hand side, you can move the entire thing. And if you grab this top left corner or the top right corner, you can have it come in gradually. And you can stack these according to notes on your keyboard. You can even do it for velocities. So what this means, if I were to set this kick to a really low velocity, anytime I play anything within this range of velocities, it's going to fall within this patch range and it's going to activate that patch. Or you can have something that's a little bit higher, like this one, which means I have to hit the keys really hard in order to activate this patch and to play through that patch. You can do the same thing with the CC right here. What this means is if I assign it to some CC parameter on my keyboard, for example, and you can make those assignments right here, then I can use that knob to control where it's falling in this range. If I've got my knob turned halfway up, then it'll fall right at 60, and anything that's set up in that range, any patch that's set up there will play. It'll play through that patch, it'll activate it. So these two things, the live mode and the stack mode, I really highly suggest playing with them and getting used to how they work because they're very useful, even if you're not playing in a live setting. That's it for the live mode and stack mode. Make sure to stay tuned for the next video, guys. It's the last video where we're going to take a look at this utility menu and then also some of the features that you can find in the browser, which are really cool. So make sure to stay tuned for that last video, and we'll see you guys there.